To welcome the athletes, and we begin with the European 800-metre champion for Great Britain, Keely Hodgkinson. Photographers, we're in your hands as to how you want this to be. You don't get applause in a press conference. I should have told you about that. We have a bib, I think. Just checking with Gareth. I know you've got one on. Okay. Have a seat. Next, the European 1500-metre champion for Great Britain, Laura Muir. Yes. I feel like there should be some applause. The world 200-metre champion from Jamaica, Sharika Jackson. Woo! And the world hurdles champion indoors and out, and also the world record holder, and for the purposes of this press conference, our token male, Grant Holloway from the USA. So let's start with Keely. I'm going to ask all of you a standard question at the end, but you would know that the world indoor record for your event was set by Jolanda Cheplat on the 9th of March 2002. Just explain to people why you know that.
How old am I next week? No, it's my 21st birthday next week, so the world record was set on the exact day I was born 21 years ago, which is quite cool.
And has its time come, do you feel?
I feel I'm in pretty good shape. And I feel if the perfect smooth race was to happen, I could get close to it. But if you watch that world record done, there was two of them battling all the way to the line. So I'm not sure how difficult it'll be potentially by myself. But yeah, I'd like to give it a shot. But my aim is ultimately to try and break my own British record as well.
And you've had an outstanding indoor season, you haven't lost, and you've had some amazing breakthroughs. It's a shame in a way that Fem Cabal is overshadowing at the same time with world records from her. But is it time for a world record from you, do you think? Is your form good enough?
Well, I'd like that as much as you. But no, yeah, Femke's doing amazing. We were saying, me and Caroline were saying that it would be really cool to say if we had the 400, the 500, the 600 and the 800 world records between us. But yeah, that's a very hard record to break, and I'll just go out and do my best and see what happens.
What would it take? Is it something like 57 seconds at halfway?
Yeah, we're thinking for myself, probably about 57.2, 57.3. I've gone 56 before, as I did last week, and I feel it's not really needed that much, and it was a little bit of a messy race last week, exerting energy here, there, and everywhere. So for me, it's about just hitting that mark of 57 and trying to get a smooth run.
And you've raced in this arena before, in front of a home crowd with a great atmosphere. You've not yet raced on this new surface, have you?
I have not, no. But it looks really nice, so we'll see.
And we're asking everybody, who is your all-time favourite sports person and why?
Michael Jordan, because he's just fucking cool, isn't he?
Very good. Let's turn to Laura, also undefeated this year. You've had record attempts in the past. Sometimes when you haven't been 100%, it looks and feels like you're about 100% at the moment. What's your assessment of that?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a really good spot, and yeah, I was fortunate the last time I competed over the K in Birmingham. I got the European record, so I'd love to, second time in Birmingham doing it. Hopefully going to come away and go one further, but. Yeah, I've had a few shots at the Key now, a couple indoors and one outdoors, and getting a bit better feel for it. So it's a hard one to pace, but I feel like yeah, I'm in a good shot to go for it. Yeah.
I mean, you have an amazing range. You were a Commonwealth medalist at 800 metres, but you hold the Scottish record at 5,000 metres. What are your thoughts on 1,000? Is it in the sweet spot for you between 8 and 15?
It's definitely tricky. It's nasty. It's like running an 800 and then keep going. So I would probably say it's the most painful of all the distances I've competed over. But yeah, I think it is a really good place for me because I've got that 800 speed, but I've also got that bit of endurance. So yeah, I think it is a really cool distance for me to run, and one that I feel that I can run quick over, which is exciting. Yeah.
Question for both of you: if you raced over 1,000, how would it pan out?
I knew it was going.
Let's set it up, find out.
I think she'd have me to 8 definitely, but then it's that last two.
Yeah, it would do. Yeah, I think it'd be similar to me. I think, and me and Femke racing over the 6. She'd get out way harder, and then so it might be like the way around. But it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like races like that are quite fun. Like people who don't really race each other that much coming together over these random distances. I think it's quite exciting.
And you did do a bit of cross country as a kid, didn't you? So you're not an out and out 4/8 type, are you? Completely.
Yeah, and I come from the endurance background more than I do speed. So.
Laura, who's your all-time favourite sports person?
I think I'd have to go by Chris Hoy. I think he's got to go with the Scot, and I've met him before, and he was really lovely, and what he's achieved is amazing. So, yeah.
Let's turn to Grant Holloway, and I bang on about this because we met at the press conference in Boston. You have now gone undefeated in your entire career at 60-metre hurdles ever since you were in high school. We're not sure, 70, 74 races, something like that, in the tightest of margins. Is it only me that goes on about it, or does it cross your mind in training?
Not necessarily. Like I said before, the record is for, I guess, publicity purposes, and I think for the athlete coming in, I think it's our job just to come in, be able to execute, and get to the finish line first. I think it just goes to show when you put your mind towards something and you focus in and you're able to go through a quick race with the least margin of error. I think that's when you really set yourself apart from everybody else.
Of those 70 races, when you look back, can you remember any of them in great detail, or is it all a blur?
Both the world records, one in Madrid and then one in Serbia. I think you can also go back to the great battle that my good friend Dan Roberts and I had at NCAA's in America, and where were we? Birmingham, Alabama.
The second Birmingham.
Yeah, the second.
As we call it.
But yeah, all those races, you can look at it, watch the film, and be able to figure out, what you did right, what you did wrong, and be able to tweak it. And the stars are already aligned. It's just up to the athlete. It's up to us just to go out there and just have a little bit of fun and run relaxed and run fast.
What would your perfect race look like? What would it yield time-wise if you had every bit of it perfect?
I think 28 and 79. So, you run 7:28 indoors, and then you run 12:79 outdoors. I think those are the two perfect races. I'm close on both of them. I've been able to produce fast times in and out, championships, diamond leagues. I think I've proven myself on every single level that there is. Now it's just time just to run free. There's no more really time chasing. I think I've already solidified myself in history. I think now it's just time just to run free and really just believe that it's possible. Aries Merritt set the precedent so high, being able to run sub 13. I think Alan Johnson also started that genre of sub 13. And then, we just lost another great, Greg Foster. He was able to do it a great number of times. So I think it's just time just to believe that we're in a new generation, and that the times that were fast back then or the times that we think are fast now, athletes are able to achieve at a high level.
You came here a year ago with some travel issues. I think you were running pretty tired. You still won. But it means you haven't yet run on this track surface, have you? What have you heard? What are your expectations?
Expectations just to see fast times get produced. I think my event is a little bit later in the program, so really, just paying attention to those times, seeing how everybody's running. Hopefully before then, you see a couple world records drop, or you see a couple meet records or championship records fall down, and that just kind of sets the tone for what needs to be done.
Who's your all-time favorite sports person, and why?
I think right now, Jalen Hurts is the first person that stick out. He is not an all-time, about the same age as me. Quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm glad you said that.
Quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. I just think the way he handles himself, the way he strives for perfection, the way he weeds out the news and the fake news is really impressive. I think one of the things that he said is, not everybody's opinion gets deposited at the bank at the end of the day, and I think that's something that all great athletes have to remember, because there's going to be opinions thrown at you left, there's going to be opinions thrown at you right, but now it's just time for you focus in on your teammates, the coaches, your friends, your family, and those are the only ones that matter at the end of the day.
Are you drawn a little bit to Philadelphia Eagles because that's where Devon Allen has ended up?
Just a little bit. Devon is a great friend of mine, so I have to pull for them a little bit. I'm a bandwagon anyway, so that'll work out.
Let's turn to Sharika. Welcome along. We're seeing a tendency among the men for 400-metre runners to move down to 100. We've seen Fred Curley do it. Michael Norman apparently is going to move to 100. You've made that transition. How easy is it, and how readily could you mix at any given time 1, 2, and 4?
For me personally, I think it's good. I've always run all event in high school. I wasn't good at 100, but when coach and I decided to switch to the 100, I was super nervous, but I was excited because I really wanted to sprint. I know I had so much great time to produce, and I wanted to be among the best, and I think I've worked hard, and hard work pays off.
And how close are you to your ultimate at any one of those three distances? Is there room in all of them?
Definitely. I'm yet to run 48, which I definitely want to achieve in the 400. I think I have so much more in store for the sprint. It's just been 2 years since I switched to short sprinting, so I just want to see how fast I can go. I have gotten so much faster than I was before. I was actually not fast, I was strong, so therefore I could have able to produce these fast times. So now that I'm fast, I want to just see how fast I can go in the sprint, short sprint.
And you actually have raced outdoors already over 400 metres. That's a bit of a Jamaican thing, isn't it? We saw Bolt do that now and again, a 400 metres in January or February. How was it?
It was not as fast as I wanted it to be, but I definitely have some more 400 coming up, so I'm just excited. The first 400 wasn't, as I said, wasn't as fast as I wanted it, but as I said, I have some more 400 coming up, so I definitely want to see, I want to at least run 50 points this season. That's one of my goals, so definitely working towards that.
And just to throw another distance into the mix, 60 metres, the one you're racing tomorrow, you're the equal fastest on personal best, but you're the second slowest on season's best. What should we expect?
For me personally, I want to just put my first 30 together. I think once I get my first 30 together, then I'll definitely run fast. I want to run at least 7 something, so therefore I want to put a proper 30 together. My last 30 is okay, but my first 30 is very bad. So in Boston, I had a really, really bad race in Boston, especially over the first 30. So once I put the first 30 together, then anything is possible.
Can I ask both of you, you and Grant, you're in the shortest events of the programme. How early into the races do you know it's gone well? Do you, once you're upright and into running or first hurdle, do you think, yes, nailed it?
For me, once I get my, as I said, if I get the first 30 correct, then I'll have a other proper 30. But for me personally, I think if the 30 goes bad, then it throws me off, because I'm not a good starter, but if I'm not far away from the pack, then I'll definitely close fast. So.
I think it just goes back to the start for me. For the hurdles, it's a quick race. Probably less than 50 steps if I counted it up right. But it all starts right when the gun goes bang. So you get out the blocks and you set it up, and you know how to hurdle. Well, not you guys know how to hurdle. I know how to hurdle, so I think that's just the easy part. It's just more so just setting up the race, and once you do what you have to do off the pads, everything else sets itself up.
Sharika, who's your all-time favourite sports person and why?
I think when I just came in the sports, I idolized Alison a lot. I think before I started competing with her, she was determined. She also ran all 3 events, and I think I admire that a lot, and I think that's one of the things where I was super excited to switch event, because I admire her able to achieve all across the board. So.
Alison Felix. So we had 3 Americans and a Scot as all-time favourites. Okay, questions from the floor. We do have a roving mic that will come to you, and this is for the benefit of those that are watching on the live stream. So obviously we can hear you in the room, but if you use the microphone, they can hear you on the stream as well. Who wants to go first? And Rick, if you introduce yourself, please.
Rick Broadbent from The Times. Keely, I just wondered what you thought of last year when you assessed it. Was it brilliant because you won a bag of medals, or was it disappointing because you were a hair's breadth from the big one?
Wait, say that again, sorry.
Sorry, I just wonder what your assessment of last year was. Was it great because you got so many medals, or was it disappointing because you just missed out on the big one?
I think it sits in the middle. I think last year was a difficult year for me more personally, so I was just adjusting to the new life of being a professional athlete, but I can't complain walking away with 3 major medals. I definitely can't. So it was definitely a successful year. Would I like to a few more golds? Yeah, definitely. But it's what keeps us going in the winter, so yeah, I can't complain.
Hi there, Rob Moore from The Sun. Keely, you mentioned earlier about potentially racing Laura over 1,000 metres. Do you think there should be more hybrid events between various sort of athletes?
I think it's quite exciting, like, especially with the middle distance, long distance. It's more doable than probably some of the sprints, especially indoors. I think indoors is a good time to do these like trial fun type of things. Because everyone's got major champs coming up in the summer. Because it was just last week I was joking with Femke if she'd race me over 600 because I feel like that would be a really fun race. So yeah, I think it would attract a lot of fun, excitement and hype around the athletes as well.
What was her response to?
She said, not in Olympic year.
Okay.
I said, okay, another time.
And can I ask Laura, obviously, Matola holds the record, doesn't she, for the 1,000 metres? She's quite good friends of Kelly Holmes. I just wondered if you'd met Matola in South Africa when you'd been out there on your training camps, potentially.
No, I've not actually. No. Yeah, can't say I've met her, unfortunately. Yeah.
Have you two ever trained together in South Africa? You both spend about 4 months of the year out there. Do you ever train together? Not ever?
No.
Not even
I
once?
think her stuff's quite different.
No.
I'm watching her stuff and I'm like...
No. Who's next?
Hi, Nick Mashter from PA. Laura, 2017 you had a shot at the 1,000 metres here. Just wondered sort of what your memories of it were, because obviously you made the British record then anyway. Yeah. I think at the time I was just targeting Kelly's British record, so that's what I went in for, and broke that and got the European record at the same time, which is the second all time. So I was delighted, because I kind of wasn't really. I was just going for the British one. To get a European one was great. So I wasn't really targeting the world record at that attempt. But I just remember it being an amazing atmosphere, and raced here a few times before, and it was. I just remember feeling it was a very tough race. But I've raced the K a couple of times since then. I raced it in Glasgow indoors, but I wasn't quite as fit then, so didn't run quite as fast. And then I did it once outdoor in Monaco, where I've actually ran faster than the time indoors, like the world record indoors. So it's good to know that I have physically run faster than the world record indoors, just unfortunately on the wrong place. So it's nice to go into, this is the first time running the K that I've actually ran the time before. Every other time I've ran it, I'd not actually ran quick enough. So I know physically I can do it. It's just transferring that outdoor time into the indoor time. But it's nice to have a little bit more experience now. So last time I ran it in 2017, here I'd never ran a K before. So hopefully I've got a little bit more experience in the event now, knowing that I have actually ran the time before as well, which is a good confidence booster. Yeah. Preempted my second one, which was kind of over the last 6 years, kind of what experience have you taken? Is there then anything in particular that you can use tomorrow just to sort of get you over that line?
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit more experience about knowing what splits I have to hit. And I've ran it a few times now where, I've gone through different points and it's like, right, what time do we actually need to run at different points? So I'm probably going to have to go through 800 and sub 2 to make it. Whereas before it's a bit harder to kind of know, okay, actually how much time do you need to allow for that last lap and things. So it's just better to know, I have a bit of a benchmark as to myself knowing what points I need to hit when, and just having a bit of idea what it feels like and stuff. So it's it's a really, really difficult distance to get right, because you run literally a fraction of a second too fast or too slow. Probably any 100-meter split, not even 200-meter split, it's almost game over. So it's tricky, but hopefully we can get it right. I think we've got the wave light, we've got a good pacer, so it'll be exciting. Yeah.
Who's next? Yes, Ewan.
It's Ewan from AW. It's a question for all 4 athletes. It's when you're going for records or you're in major finals, looking to get that extra bit out of yourselves and knowing it's probably going to hurt, where do you go to mentally? What processes or tricks do you use to get that extra bit out of yourselves?
Sometimes I think if you're trying to go for a record, sometimes don't force it, because you're just putting yourself under more stress, and I feel like it just runs away from you rather than coming towards you. But I think for me, I just kind of picture it like a training run, like me following the boys in training, what I've done a million times before, just trying to do it again. That's it.
Yeah, I think similar to Keely, in that sometimes, you've got to try and not overly obsess about the time that you want to try and stay relaxed and not tense up and not be constantly thinking about it. You've got to kind of flow well and not try and tense up. So it's about trying to keep on pace, but at the same time, kind of staying relaxed. And I feel like when you run relaxed, you run faster. And but it's always going to hurt when you're racing. Even more so when you're trying to run the fastest that there's ever been. But it's, you know, pain's only temporary, like they say, so just try and get to that line and then that's it, yeah.
I agree with the ladies. You know, you revert back to, you know, the training days. You revert back to the hard days where, you know, you put in the hours. And, you know, it's the old model that practice makes permanent. So, you know, you just rely back on, you know, the training sessions, and when you go out there, just execute.
Yeah, for me personally, I think it's execution. You train hard and you just want to put your best race there, and I definitely know once you put your best race together, then eventually the fast time will come, but not focus on running super fast, just focus on execution.
Grant, in those 70-odd races, which only I ever go on about, have you ever battered a hurdle or stumbled? Have you had major mishaps and still won?
I've had a couple mishaps. If you just look back at really any of the races, you know, you can always find something that you had. I mean, the last 60-meter hurdle race where it was in Serbia, you know, I was on pace probably to run 7.2 mid or 7.2 low, and I just hit the third hurdle, and that resulted to 7.39. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you look at the end goal. You know, at that point, it was at a world championship. So of course, you know, you gun for the gold. But then at the same time, you use, you know, those meets and those training sessions, and you reevaluate yourself, and then you dust yourself off, and you go do it again.
Hi, I'm Jess from World Athletics. So it's the World Indoor Tour final, which obviously has had the season-long progression to get to this point, and prizes are, you know, additional prize money, overall tour titles, and also wild cards on offer for next year's World Indoors. Keely and Grant, I think you're both quite near the top of the standings and have the chance to kind of secure the tour titles. I just wondered how much that adds to the competition throughout the season, having goals like that to aim for in addition.
I think it's nice to, you know, if you do win the tour, to just know that you're going to a championships next year for definite. So it's nice to have that relaxation. You don't need to go to the trials and things like that. But yeah, I feel like that's a next year thing. There's still a whole year ahead. So that'll be the main focus for me, really.
I think personally, it's just one of the things where if I'm fit and I'm in shape, I'm healthy and I'm happy, and all cylinders are running, I want to be on the track. You know, I'd much rather be traveling, talking with you guys, versus being in Gainesville, Florida, training outside. So I think it just shows that, you know, I would say it's bigger than the money. I'd say it's bigger than the title, but just to have a peace of mind, just to be able to go out and do something that you love and something that you dreamed of doing your whole life, and you're able to travel the world and see beautiful people and see beautiful things. I think that's the bigger, you know, aspiration aspect of, you know, being able to travel and running at meets. So, I mean, I would love to have, you know, everything in the world, but I know that's not possible. So I actually enjoy the travel. I enjoy speaking with you guys. I enjoy, you know, just being able to line up against, you know, not just my friends, but some brothers that I would, you know, love to have dearly in my life. So I think I look forward to, you know, being able to travel, and if that comes with, you know, the territory of, you know, having the title and getting ready for next year and everything, that's great. But I know for me personally, I just enjoy the travel, and, you know, being able just to get out of Gainesville and just really enjoy myself is I think it's the bigger picture.
That sounds like a good note to end on. Thank you very much to all of you for your attendance today. Good luck to all four of you, and we look forward to a full house tomorrow. Thank you.
See, I was gonna give you this, but I don't want you to get fined. Nah. They'd be like, yo.